Why do some nations prosper while others remain poor? The answer lies not in geography, culture, or ignorance, but in the nature of a nation's institutions.
Nations fail because of their inability to develop inclusive economic institutions. This core idea comes from the book Why Nations Fail by Acemoglu and Robinson, which examines the origins of power, prosperity, and poverty across the world.
Developed countries achieve wealth through inclusive economic institutions. These combine state power with free market principles.
The state guarantees private property rights and enforces contract law, creating incentives for people to invest and innovate.
It provides crucial infrastructure and education to enable growth. Importantly, the state is controlled by its citizens rather than a small elite, with laws working for the majority rather than just the rich.
In contrast, extractive economic institutions hinder long-term development. While they may generate short-term growth, they ultimately lead to poverty. Think of corrupt dictators funneling money into foreign bank accounts instead of investing in their country's future.
We can see these differences by comparing neighboring countries. Take Mexico and the United States. Despite their proximity, the US side of the border town Nogales has an average income 3 times higher than the Mexican side, with better education, infrastructure, and life expectancy.
This stark contrast stems not from environmental or cultural factors, but from their divergent political and economic systems established centuries ago.
The roots of these differences often trace back to colonial times. In many underdeveloped countries, extractive institutions were first established by colonial powers, often building upon existing local extractive systems.
After independence, these became even more extractive under new rulers, leading to civil wars as factions fought for control.
This vicious cycle has trapped many nations in poverty and instability. On the other hand, countries like the United States and United Kingdom have benefited from centuries of gradually more inclusive institutions.
This virtuous circle created increasing incentives for economic growth and entrepreneurship. The case of North and South Korea provides a striking example.
Divided after World War II, they started with similar levels of development. Today, South Korea's living standards are 10 times higher than North Korea's.
The South encouraged private property and markets, invested in education, and allowed new industries to flourish.
The North banned private property and markets, leading to economic stagnation. In essence, nations fail when their institutions fail to provide the right incentives for economic growth and political stability.
Inclusive institutions that distribute power broadly and create economic opportunities for the majority are key to long-term prosperity.
Without them, countries can become trapped in cycles of poverty, corruption, and conflict. The path to prosperity is not easy, especially for nations with a long history of extractive institutions. However, understanding these fundamental principles can help guide efforts to build more inclusive and successful societies.